Welcome to the Gravitating Towards Your Power podcast. Today we have a special guest, Dominick DeCarlo, known as world's most talented stage hypnotist. What's up, Dominick?
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me, Austin.
I'm doing good, brother. I'm just going to build this screen up really quickly. There we go. All right, so no, I'm doing great today, man. It looks like it's hot where you are. You're in Arizona, right?
Yeah, I just got into Tucson from Sacramento last night. So the weather's about 70 degrees, and Sunday I'm sitting here by my pool. So it's a good day in paradise.
Yeah, in Delaware it's about 30 degrees up here in November, so I'm envious. But no, man, I'm really excited to have you on. Really excited to facilitate this. It's cool because I think I had filmed like a Facebook Live, and that's how we got in touch. We didn't actually meet in person, and
no, we haven't.
Amazing. What's that?
We have not met in person. It was all virtual.
Yeah, you reached out through Facebook wanting to be a guest on the show. And I thought that was awesome, man. I love when people, initiate it, take action. They want to reach out and help in some way. And man, this is going to be awesome because I think, I know like we discussed before, it may not be the same parallel, but it supplements, what we're talking about today. I think hypnosis is very powerful. And I think it really supplements with weight training and also weight loss and just changing people's, not just their mindset, but also their body as well. I think it starts from the mind. 80% comes from psychology, and then 20% is mechanics. So
Right. And you do the mechanics, and that's why I reached out because, I too have a trainer. I work out every day. Not to get into my stuff, but I had knee surgery 2.5 years ago due to an accident. Then I had double foot surgery. So I've been trying to build myself back and get myself back because I'm a volleyball player and a tennis player. And I've been doing the whole nutritional thing, the supplemental thing, working out with a trainer. And then obviously I'm a hypnotist, and the subconscious is a big part of it. And that's the part that is typically not practiced when people are trying to make physical changes or health changes. And being that you do the physical and health part, I wanted to reach out to you and say, hey, the subconscious needs to be tapped into. And it's amazing. I mean, people sometimes complain that they're at the gym, and they really are dedicated at the gym and they're not making any changes. It's very interesting. If we take these people and we hypnotize them, sometimes that's the key to make the change. And they're like, oh my God, this is so much easier than going out to the gym 5 times a week. But not everyone is hypnotizable. I'm the first one to admit that. There are a lot of hypnotists out there that say, oh, it doesn't matter, I can hypnotize everybody. That is not true. I personally am the first to admit I'm not the hypnotizable type. I'm just not. I just don't have that ability to relax, let go. I'm a type A personality person. I'm always thinking, I'm always analyzing, and I just simply can't relax and let go. It's the type B people, the laid back, creative, artists, interior decorators, massage therapists, yoga people, the artists that can just really visualize and just relax. Those are the ones that have a greater propensity of being hypnotized. So if we could tap into that group that you're focusing on and trying to make physical change, they could have some serious results and serious changes.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting. People with have a little bit of feedback. People with ADD wouldn't really respond to this then.
ADD, kids with ADD or adults with ADD, it's really difficult because they really have to concentrate on me and the induction process. The induction is the process of which one gets hypnotized. And all it is, is a guided meditation. But they have to concentrate and they have to focus. And usually ADD kids or people they're all over their board with their thinking. And they'll kind of tune me in and then tune me out and think about something else and therefore not get hypnotized. It doesn't mean that they can't. Mm-hmm. It's just a little bit more challenging.
No, it makes sense. Okay. I'm going to turn this down.
And epileptics, we can't hypnotize because we could trigger a seizure. So epileptics, I will not experiment with at all.
Interesting.
ADD, definitely I will try, but again, it's a little bit more challenging. It's kind of like, you know, someone who's a paraplegic. Yeah, they can run a mile in a wheelchair. Some can do it, no problem. It's just going to be a little bit more of an effort and more challenging. The same thing with trying to hypnotize someone with ADD.
All right, so it's actually a point. So,
but my statistic, Austin, is 70% of the people are hypnotizable. So it's just very fun for me trying to figure out which ones are the 70 or which are 30. So in my stage hypnosis show, I randomly pick 21 people to come up on stage. On the average, 70%, 14 people get hypnotized. The other 7 don't. I ask them, you know, to return to the stage so they can watch the show. And then ironically, some people in the audience who focus on the induction, they get actually hypnotized in the audience. And then I bring those people up to fill the 7 chairs that are typically empty from the people who can't. But on my world, in my world, it's about 70% of the people can get hypnotized.
That's still a majority. So it's more than, you know, half. That's crazy. So you're we were talking about earlier, you're known as the David Copperfield of hypnosis. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, we, you know, hypnosis shows are typically done at state fairs, county fairs, high school grad nights. And what I've noticed is they're very kind of black and white shows, just a bunch of folding chairs, white lighting. There's no sound or video. There's no production value. And my mentor, when I first started with my mentor, it's a long story, I won't get into it now. But I kind of carried on the show when she had to leave in Mexico, and I wound up being the #1 show in Latin America. And to humble myself, my mentor always said, hey, you know, now don't get, you know, cocky, don't, you know, cop an ego here. Hypnotists are a dime a dozen, meaning you can be easily replaced. So I have never accepted average in my life. You know, I never wanted even the A in school. It was always had to be the A+.
Yeah.
That's the overachiever in me. And, you know, I didn't really like the comment of, you know, we're a dime a dozen, because to me I'm a C, you know? So I kept on taking this advice. You're not a dime, you're a dime a dozen, you're a dime a dozen. And I kept on saying to myself, how can I not be a dime a dozen? I don't want to be average. So all of a sudden I had this idea where if I throw a suggestion out like, you know, you're freezing cold, and how can I show this in addition to the people who are putting their arms underneath their shirt and snuggling up to the stranger next to them for warmth, or they're chattering their teeth? How can I make it more visually appealing? So I said, wouldn't that be cool if we could get projections and screens so I can project Antarctica with a iceberg projection and penguins running around and snow-capped mountains in the background. So when the audience looks on stage, now we have a background of Antarctica. How cool would it be from the white lighting to go to blue lighting and make it symbolize blue, the cold of Antarctica? And then, oh my God, we have a fog machine. Let's use the fog machine to symbolize the steam coming off the icebergs. So, and then for effect, we play Foreigners, You're as Cold as Ice, just to, you know, for ambiance. So now when the audience sees the stage, I have painted a picture of Antarctica. So now when the hypnotized people start shivering or chattering their teeth or get goose pimples or snuggling up for warmth to the stranger with the stranger next to them, I have painted a picture of Antarctica, and I've created this multimedia scene, which has obviously made us the biggest produced multimedia hypnosis show in the world. Thanks to Doug Goldstein, who is the former manager of Guns N' Roses, who really believed in this idea of hypno video that I created and got me in to all of the Guns N' Roses people and produced, you know, my vision and made it happen and financially paid for it. So
wow.
Very, very, very blessed.
Yeah, man. And just what you're describing too with the hypno video show, like that sounds so real. Like with like you were saying with the Antarctica scene, like that, being in that environment makes you, it just feels so authentic. You know what I mean? It feel with the steam and the blue, and it makes you, it's so captivating. It draws your attention in. I think that's
right. And we're in a society where we need to be multitasking, and multimedia is so desired and wanted. And so if a show doesn't have visual and audio and effects, people get bored. And shows are looking for the next bigger and better thing. I mean, before, you know, it was a really good invention when shows had one screen. Now you go to concerts, they have, you know, the side screens and the big screen, and they have, you know, it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger in terms of production, and everyone's trying to outdo the other artists. And we just need to be stimulated on so many different levels, or it's considered not a good show. So that's kind of we took a very basic, you know, what David Copperfield did with a very black and white rabbit out of a hat magic show. He took it to this unbelievable multimedia production. That's basically what I did with the basic hypnosis show. Took it to awesome. That David Copperfield Cirque du Soleil level.
That is awesome. That is awesome, man. So tell us a little bit more, actually, like from a more of a general standpoint, how hypnosis works. And then we'll kind of dive into, like, want to know how it can result with like fitness as well.
Sure. You know, it's there's a lot of skeptics out there. I totally get it. I was a skeptic myself. But the mechanics of hypnosis is such that right now, all of our conscious minds are working to process you're listening to me, you speaking to me. That's all being processed by our conscious mind. And that's like in first position right now. Our subconscious is working in second position. And that's kind of like, you're not thinking about blinking your eyes. You're not thinking about your heart pumping blood. That's all controlled by your subconscious. You're breathing, you're swallowing, all that kind of stuff that is kind of working. We're doing it, but it's working in the background. So I call that, you know, that's like the second position. What I do as a hypnotist, or the hypnotic induction, actually reverses the two processes. I take the subconscious mind and shift it to second position, and I take the subconscious mind and put it in priority, first position. And so relating to what you do, this is a perfect parallel and metaphor. When you do not work out for a while, and all of a sudden you go to the gym and you work biceps, and you want to work them really hard because you want to make up for the past 3 months that you have not been at the gym. What happens to your biceps a day or two later?
Oh, they're incredibly sore.
They're sore because of the lactic acid buildup.
Yes.
So as a result of working a muscle, you get sore, right? So what I do as a hypnotist, and through the hypnotic process called an induction, I exercise the subconscious mind and I stimulate it, okay? Now, the subconscious mind is not going to get sore like a muscle, but when it is exercised, the result can be, for 70% of the people, it becomes highly, highly suggestible.
Wow.
So when it becomes suggestible, and I tell them that this environment you're in, it's 30 degrees below zero because you're in Antarctica, they start to shiver. Even though it's 80 degrees, 90 degrees on the stage with all of the lighting, it's hotter than heck. But in their minds, because I told them it's cold, they believe it, and then they react.
That's incredible. That is so crazy. You know what?
Yeah.
That's kind of reminded me of one book I remember reading. You probably have heard of this book, is Psycho-Cybernetics, right?
Yep. I haven't read it, but I've heard it.
Yeah, and it's amazing. And I mean, that was what the definition you just gave of that was, obviously this is your profession, but it was so clear. You know, I've never heard it that easily explained before. And it's like, it's amazing how, like you said, the subconscious conscious mind, you're just reversing it, and how we go in this continual pattern throughout every day, that a lot of people that are overweight too, and also that can't gain muscle, they struggle with these realities that they believe to be true. Is that correct? That aren't necessarily true?
Right. And that's why when we use hypnosis for therapeutic reasons,
Yeah.
we kind of alter or change those patterns that are not working and try to suggest patterns that typically do work. And again, it doesn't work for everybody, but does an aspirin work for everybody's headache?
Very true.
Does open heart surgery work for every heart patient? You know, it's just another modality that one should try that has a success rate as well as a failure rate. But you don't know unless you try it.
Absolutely. No, that is very true. You have to try.
But I know if you don't try, you're definitely not going to get a change.
Yes.
If you try, you may get a change. So I would rather go with may get a change than guaranteed no change.
And that's a really important thing you just said, or really powerful, and you just touched on there too. I know we were talking about this before. The old adage that goes with, I think it's Confucius once said it, those who think they can and those who think they can't are both right. And like, yeah, I mean, tell us a little bit more about that.
You know, if you set your mind to do it, you will. And if you set your mind not to do it and self-defeat, you will. It's that easy. You just have to have the confidence, the perseverance, to set your mind to it, stick to the plan, and you will get it done. And if you have doubt that you won't, you're going to believe that as well.
Yeah. And I think that's like, it's very true. You're talking about with waking up, even getting up early. Like if you say, oh, I can't do this, simply you're programming your subconscious mind to believe that you cannot do something. Right. And it's just amazing that affirming that something is possible, something is realistic, and giving some type of affirmation, or I don't know how you feel about affirmations or incantations. How do you feel about those?
I mean, that's what I basically do when I'm doing hypnosis for self-help. What I've kind of coined as help through hypnosis. I'm throwing those positive affirmations in the subconscious level, but they can also be taken at the conscious level. But I think when you hit the subconscious mind in the hypnotic state, it's a lot more effective. Because how many times do you give good advice to your friends? You know, hey, you know, you're 20 pounds overweight. You got to go to the gym. You can't eat carbs at night. You got to take your supplements. And they listen, but they don't change their behavior. Yes. Yeah, you're right, Austin. You're right. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll start tomorrow. Blah, 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 blah. But we have a better chance of making that happen if one gets hypnotized and we're saying those exact same things when their subconscious is put in second position and their conscious mind is put in subconscious mind is put in first position.
Yes.
That's when we can really stimulate the subconscious and really make those changes and embed those suggestions on a very, very, very deep subconscious level that will be more effective than just telling people day to day what they should or should not do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I find it's actually funny too. Like, I don't know where I've heard this, but to tell a family member or friend, they're much more likely not to listen than to tell like a stranger. I've found that.
Yeah. I've always had to have my friends tell my parents stuff versus me telling them directly, because I know my friends would have more of an effect on them.
Yeah, man. So everything we just talked about was the hypno help, right?
Right. Hypno help through hypnosis to help people rid their fears, phobias, challenges, addictions, even pain, Austin.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Wait, so could you actually talk a little bit more about the pain part of it too?
Yeah, it's amazing. For instance, I had a friend in San Diego that had severe back pain to the point where he would have back attacks and just collapse. It was so painful. And he dealt with this for about 10 years. We had met. He was very skeptical about hypnosis. In fact, he basically questioned me for over a year before he pulled the trigger. And he finally had a personal session with me, and he was very hypnotizable. And I'll get into that as well. And that night, he went out and he wound up dancing. And all of his friends were like, wait a second, like, we've never seen you dance because of your back. What's going on? He's like, well, I got hypnotized by Dominick DeCarlo, and like it went from, on a scale from 1 to 10, my pain was 11. It is now like a 2, and it's a lot more manageable. And you think, well, if Dominick were really good, he would make it 0. Well, let me tell you something, Austin. Any hypnotist that will reduce your pain to 0 is a quack and not a legitimate hypnotist. And let me explain why. You think that would be what people want. But let me tell you, if I would hypnotize my friend to absolutely 100% rid his pain in his back, let's say that there was a old-fashioned furnace that was working, and he were to lean up against that hot furnace, and his back would touch that. If I reduced and caused him to have 0 pain, he would not flinch when he touched that hot coal, and he would wind up burning himself and or melting his skin because he would have no functioning pain receptors if Absolutely. I brought that down to 100% removal of pain. So you never, ever want to fully reduce that pain 100%. You want to reduce it, not eliminate it. Wait,
so it is possible to reduce it down to, oh, that is scary.
Yeah, so I could, if someone was hypnotizable and suggestible, I could suggest that they will have 0 pain in their hands.
Wow.
I could have them put it on a hot stove and they wouldn't flinch. Their skin would melt and they would do a lot of damage, but their hand would just sit there.
That's incredible. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It
sounds like as a professional, I don't want to fully eliminate pain recepting, 100% because that we have those mechanisms built into our system for reasons pain and to get away and to flinch and to pull back. So if you remove those, eliminate those on 100% basis, you could basically cause a lot of damage.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. That's...
So reduction, never elimination when it comes to pain. Okay. So he's really happy with the 2. And what was really cool is it lasted on the private session with me for about 2 or 3 weeks. Then the pain started kind of creeping up again, kind of like when pain medication wears off. And all he did was listen to our audio program that comes with the personal session, and boom, he was back to a manageable level. And we have a night track and a day track. And even in the middle of the day when he was at work, if he felt the pain creeping up, he would go into the break room and play the day version. He would take 10 minutes to get hypnotized. That version, the day version, actually wakes him up so he can carry out his rest of his day. And his pain was virtually eliminated. Not fully eliminated, but significantly reduced.
Wow.
And our night version, he was listening to every night. And the only difference is it's the same programming. It's just it will not wake you up, and then you fall into your natural sleep pattern, and you have a great night's sleep. So it's great because he has this audio program on his iPhone, and anytime he feels the pain creeping up during the day, he listens to the day version, and boom, it's significantly reduced. It's like popping a pill.
But that's awesome. It's that simple. You just need you need something to hook it up to, and it's perfect.
Yep.
Well, cool. So I'm thinking now, if you're open to it, how would you feel about doing some demonstration just so our viewers could see maybe something simple like we discussed about before?
Yeah. We can do this little, it's often used in, as a demo to kind of show, demonstrate kind of how the mind works and sometimes how suggestible our minds can be. So I think this would be a fun exercise to do for your audience. Yeah. And again, it's not going to work for everybody, but for those who does, I think, for those who it does work, I think they're going to be quite amazed. So we're going to start by taking our hands, okay, and clasping them together with your 2 index fingers pointed up, kind of like a church steeple. Okay. Separate your fingers as much as you can. Okay. Now, I want you and your studio audience to close your eyes. I'm not going to hypnotize you, so do not worry. Close your eyes and imagine the tips of your fingers being the biggest magnet that you have ever seen. And remember, your right finger is a positive magnet, and your left finger is negative. Now you're trying to resist these two magnets, but the magnets are pulling and tugging together, and their force is becoming stronger and stronger and stronger. Imagine those magnets pulling and tugging, and those fingers are becoming closer and closer and closer together. You're trying to resist, but that force is becoming so strong, you can't. Those magnets are pushing, pulling, and tugging your fingers. You're trying to resist, but you can't. Now open up your eyes.
What the heck?
Are your fingers together or close together?
Yes, they're touching. Oh my gosh.
Crazy stuff.
What?
Now, for those, let me just say my disclaimer. For those who their fingers, touched or came close to touching, you have a greater propensity of being hypnotized. For those people whose fingers stayed themselves, they're stereotypically probably more the type A personality people like myself, who just don't take suggestions, and their fingers stayed apart because they didn't take any of the suggestions. They couldn't really envision the magnet. They couldn't really feel the force between them. And that's fine. It's not like you're a bad person or you're a good person. It's just, you just don't have the propensity to necessarily take suggestions to the point where you could be hypnotized.
Oh my gosh, man, that was incredible. Like I want to, definitely. That's one of the coolest things.
Some people actually feel kind of like electricity between their fingers.
That's what I felt almost.
Yeah, some people report back to me. Like I said, I'm the first to admit I'm not the hypnotizable type. So when I wake up, my fingers are spread like a V, So I don't feel the force. I don't feel that tugging and pulling between the fingers. But for people who report back to me, some people say that they feel like electricity or kind of like a lightning bolt or this force pulling them together. I find it fascinating when I hear those stories because, like I said, I don't feel anything.
That was it's crazy too, because I feel like I'm a mixture, almost like, if you can be type A, type B. Like I'm very.
There's a hybrid.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a hybrid of both. So no, it worked for me.
But sometimes I'm the hybrid people who, it's typically like I always, when people meet me and they want to know, oh, can you hypnotize me? Am I hypnotizable? I quickly ask them, what are your favorite subjects? And if they say math and science, typically that precludes them as to not being hypnotizable, because those are those analytical types that just simply relax and they're analyzing. So for those analytical types who were doing this little finger experiment, they were probably saying, well, what's the size of the magnet? What type of magnet was it? What's the force of the magnet pulling? And they're just not kind of going with the flow and letting the magic happen.
Wow.
Creative type B personality people, those that are like history and English and philosophy, those types are like, oh, wow, I feel the force.
Yeah,
it's
so true.
Oh my God, the magnetism is so fierce that, boy, this is amazing, and I'm just going to let it go, and boom, their fingers just close because they're kind of getting in tune and becoming kind of mesmerized by the words that I'm saying and letting all the other outside forces, the analytical part, stop, and they're just going with the flow. So when people say they're history English people, typically they have a greater propensity of being hypnotized. The math and science types like myself typically aren't. Hybrids who like a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Sometimes it will work. Hypnosis will work. Sometimes it won't. It just depends on how much the analytical side kicks in.
Nice.
So
it makes sense because I like science and philosophy. So
there you go. So obviously when we did this experiment for you and you saw that your fingers were very close together toward the end, you just kind of released that analytical side, and that analytical side did not kick in, and you kind of made it happen. So for others who are kind of both, sometimes the analytical side will kick in and will prevent them from, quote unquote, really believing that there's a force between the fingers.
It's fascinating, man. Well, okay, a couple of final questions. Last kind of thing I want to really touch upon is, what is, or second to last thing, What's like one exercise someone could do? Let's say a male that's 20% body fat, they want to get down to 10%. They want to gain more confidence. They want to feel better. They want to just feel more attractive. What's like from a subconscious level, hypnotist level or hypnosis level, what could they do to take a step towards that goal?
Get hypnotized. If you don't try it, you'll never know if it can work. They can find, maybe we can put my contact information. Absolutely. If they want to discuss it personally. We can talk about it. I can do personalized session where we can actually physically meet. If I'm in their area, they're in my area. I travel all over the world doing the show. So chances are I'll be in your area soon. If that doesn't happen, we can do a Skype session like we are now. I can hypnotize people through Skype. If they don't want to necessarily disclose themselves, a lot of people, they have some very personal issues, Austin, very, crystal meth issues, sexual dysfunction issues, and they don't really want to disclose their identity, which I understand. Those people, like I recommend, they can go to our website and they can actually purchase our audio programs. And their audio program will be emailed to them, and I won't even know who they are, and they're just listening to their program in the privacy of their own home. Mm-hmm. And so we also have taken into account, disclosure issues. So for people who are dealing with very sensitive challenges, they don't even have to disclose themselves to me. So we have different levels of, identity in terms of I can do one-on-one, I can do on, Skype one-on-one, and we can do audio programs where I will never even know who you are.
I'll definitely link that up in the show notes. So they can come in contact with you.
But to answer your question, for those who want to reduce their body fat, we have self-confidence CDs, we have, motivation CDs, we have procrastination CDs. All of these are all those voices that stop and prevent us from success. So if we can target this and on the subconscious level and not have those interfere, that's when the successes, will come. So what I think would be fascinating is you do what you're doing in terms of the training online. If people would follow your, supplement suggestions, your nutritional suggestions, and couple that with hypnosis, we're going to get a synergistic effect. And, maybe the physical won't help them, but the nutrition and the supplementation is the key to your client's success. Sometimes nothing that you do will work, but they're highly suggestible and the hypnosis part will work. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people that are not hypnotizable, the hypnosis part of the puzzle won't work, but the going to the gym and the supplements and the nutrition will work. But if we offer all four at the same time, one out of the four has to work. Absolutely. And if all four work, imagine those results that are going to be created through the synergy. Yeah, that is some powerful stuff, man. Yeah. That is some powerful stuff. Well, definitely, we'll keep them in the loop for that. Where can they find you most importantly though? Like where could they find you? They can check out my website. It's www.dominickdecarlo.com. And let me spell my name because it's a little high maintenance. D as in David, O, M as in Mary, I, N as in Nancy, I, C-K, D as in David, E as in Edward, CARLO.com. www.dominickdecarlo.com. You can see demos of the show there. You can see, click on the Hypno Help online store. You'll see all of our covers. We have 30 different topics from weight loss to quitting drugs to reducing and quitting drinking to fingernail biting, to stopping your fingernail biting to anxiety, depression, motivation, procrastination. It just goes on and on. And if we don't have one of the topics that is you're stricken with, you can email me right from the website. I can do a personalized session with you, or we can give you kind of a generic audio program, and you kind of self-affirm. We take you through hypnotic induction, and then you kind of tell yourself what you want to change or get over, and then it kind of carries on, because we can't have CDs or audio topics for every single fear and phobia in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, someone came to me and they had a fear of dogs in public. Well, we don't have an audio program.
That's specific.
So we gave them a generic hypnosis CD, and then we got them in that state, and then on a subconscious level, we said, state the fear or phobia you want to get rid of. And then that person just said, hey, I want to get over fears of dogs in public. I don't want to fear animals in public. And then they kind of carried on. And it's kind of a self-hypnosis tactic where instead of me saying the suggestion, we just have the person that's trying to get over the fear or phobia state their fear or phobia.
Good stuff. No, we'll link that up in the show notes. It's powerful stuff. But one final question I want to ask you, Dominick, is let's say, and this is actually not my question I've created from Lewis Howes. I don't know if you've heard of him, but very powerful question. Let's say that, everything you've achieved in your life so far, the hypno video show, the self-help hypnosis, the status of the David Copperfield of hypnosis, all of that, hypno help everything's gone. Let's say it's completely deleted. What would be the 3 things, and this is your last final day on earth, what would be the 3 things that you've gained out of this amazing thing called life?
That's a very good question. I would say state your goal or your dream, write it down, say it to yourself daily, believe in yourself. And the third thing would be, and I'm not plagiarizing from Nike, but do it. Make it happen.
Yeah.
Make it happen. So many people have told me this would never happen. And I've kind of set out, and I am doing everything, and that's where I get my motivation from, is the word no, Austin. When people tell me no, that gives me so much motivation, because when I wind up meeting my goal that a group of people or one person or someone told me no, that'll never happen, it's kind of like my goal to one day reach, meet them in person and say, thanks for not having confidence in me. I got the TV show that you said I would never get. Thank you for the motivation. And that's what I live by. I live by proving the haters wrong. Yeah.
That is awesome.
That's what I definitely like to pass on is, be self-motivated, state your goal, what you want to do in life, because we only have one life. So do what you want to do. Do what your passion is. The goal is to find your passion, live it, and find someone stupid enough to pay you for
it. That is incredible, man. That is seriously incredible stuff. No, thank you.
Look at these successful people. Look at Steve Jobs. Do you know how many people thought he was crazy, that he was nuts, that his ideas were just so far out there that it'll never happen? Well, you know what? He made it happen. Somehow, some way, he made it happen. Look at Barack Obama. He had a bunch of, challenges for being president. He made it happen. So when people tell other people, you can never do that, don't listen to that. That's negative affirmations.
Absolutely.
Come get hypnotized by me so I can put positive affirmations in you and make positive changes and help people self-improve. But don't listen to those negative affirmations.
I love it, Dominick. Well, thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate your time today, man. And this has been some powerful stuff. I love how these two things interlink with one another, and how it's been, so just, I don't even have words to fathom how crazy.
It fits like a glove. What you do and what I do, it's different levels, but it does fit like a glove. It's just, right now, I think we should talk and offer, the different levels of change, and you
Absolutely.
do 3 out of the 4. I think if we incorporate the hypnosis part to your clients, I think your clients are even going to see greater results, possibly quicker results.
Absolutely.
And like I always say, if hypnosis doesn't work, it is an amazing relaxation exercise, and it forces people to take 10 minutes out for themselves. Even if the suggestions don't work and they don't get embedded,
Yes,
like they do for hypnotizable and suggestible people, it forces one to take 10 minutes out for themselves. And in this crazy, busy, multitasking day where we wake up checking our phone and we go to bed checking our phone, isn't it nice just to kind of take 10 minutes of your life to escape and just filter out all the noise and focus on yourself? I think we as human beings should take 10 minutes a day out for ourselves.
No, I agree, man. I can't disagree at all. It's so powerful when you cancel out the noise and just focus on the now and be present and just
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. And we will keep them in the loop for everything. I really want to make this happen as well. So
yeah, no problem. And for your studio audience, feel free to go to my website, reach out to me via email, and I will get back to everyone. It may take a day or two, but if you have any questions or you want to talk personally of your own fears, phobias, challenges, addictions, even pain management, we're here to help you, be better people and self-improve.
thank you, brother.
Take care. Thanks, Austin.
Take care.
Bye-bye.